You're tuned in to the Daily BS.
Do you believe it?
Sports and culture combined into one.
Michael on the drive across the lane. Turnaround shot. Got it. 63 for Jordan.
Are you kidding me? He did what?
The Daily BS begins
Bazinga!
right now.
Right, googly moogly.
Hadouken!
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Can't wait.
Brady to the Bay. What? Rumor has it, rumor going around, and speculations abound that Tom Brady, yes, that Tom Brady, the 6-time Super Bowl champion, wants to win number 7, but he wants to do it in San Francisco? Yeah, people are speculating that one of the landing spots could be my beloved San Francisco 49ers. Wow. This news stunned me. And, after hearing my buddy Mike DeBate's Locked On Patriots program, a fabulous program you need to listen to on the Locked On Network, I started thinking about it, and I'm going, huh? No. Because I thought he'd stay with New England, but there's we're a couple weeks away from free agency. And of course, the hot commodity, if you want to call it that, and I mean that from the fact that I don't think Tom Brady's going anywhere, then this was thrown at me. But the hot commodity is Tom Brady. 20 years in New England, 6 Super Bowl championships, countless records, countless division titles, and now this gets thrown at me. And again, I'm sitting there going, what? Because they already paid a boatload of money to Jimmy Garoppolo. The 49ers handed Garoppolo, who was basically stolen from New England for a second-round pick, because the 49ers needed a franchise quarterback. So New England trades Jimmy Garoppolo to San Francisco 3 years ago, and the 49ers seen enough footage of Garoppolo to hand him a boatload of money for a 5-year contract. Now this. And sometimes, if you're Jimmy Garoppolo and you hear all these rumors, one, professionally, you try to tune them out and you're going, nah, I'm the guy here in San Francisco. They don't want to do that to me. But at the same time, if you have a chance to win a Super Bowl with Tom Brady when you were 6 minutes away from the Super Bowl last year, part of you wants to pull the trigger and make the deal. Financially, the 49ers can do it. What would they have to give up? Not a damn thing. Financially, they can do it. They can keep their draft capital. They can still work on their secondary, because secondary is the weak spot for this 49er team, which is arguably the most complete team in the NFL, save the world champion Kansas City Chiefs. But then again, why would you want to make this move? And I know a lot of people are going to push back against this, but hear me out. Why would you want to make this move when the fellow you snatched from New England got you to the Super Bowl? There should have been some better play calling, yeah, but the guy you paid $73 million of guaranteed money for 5 years got you to the promised land, got you to the Super Bowl. Why would you want to bring in a 42-year-old quarterback who's arguably done it all, who's arguably one of the greatest to ever do it, who is arguably the greatest to ever do it, but I will never say that because, there's a guy named Joe Montana who did it for me, but I digress. You've given Garoppolo $100+ million contract. You give him 73 up front. And you're telling Garoppolo, look, you're our guy. You're going to get us multiple titles. I still believe in Jimmy Garoppolo. I still believe Jimmy Garoppolo is the man. But if you bring in Tom Brady, it's just going to set Garoppolo back to the point of, what the hell did I do wrong? It's going to make Garoppolo think, what did I do wrong? Now, professionally, he wouldn't say that. You know, he'd welcome the idea of you would think he would kind of welcome the idea of his mentor, the man who taught him what he needs to know as a quarterback, the man who is still doing it at age 43, you know, to give him a chance. Hey, give me a couple more. But it would be Montana and Young all over again. Until Jimmy Garoppolo wins a Super Bowl on his own, he will always be regarded as a backup, even though he threw 27 touchdowns last year against 13 interceptions. He nearly threw for 4,000 yards, 3,987, I think it sort of was, 3,987 yards. He led multiple game-winning drives, including in that classic in New Orleans. He's got all these tools, and the 49ers are looking to get better. And yet, you got a big old carrot dangling in front of you by the name of Tom Brady. Tom Brady, and a lot of people have said this, Tom Brady would have won that Super Bowl in Miami. Would he have? Would he have called the right plays? Would he have been given permission to call his own plays? Maybe that's the key for Jimmy Garoppolo. Let him call his own plays. Let him read the defenses because he's great at it. He's absolutely great at it. Let him read some defense. Let him work on what he needs to work on. You already basically kept this 49er team together. You can jettison Jerick McKinnon, who you paid a boatload of money to for a 3-year deal, and he's missed 2 years with injuries. You can jettison him if you need some more room. But I just don't think, as much as I would like to think it's a good fit for San Francisco, for Tom Brady to be there and to go out on top, I really think that if Tom Brady came to the Bay, of course the ultimate prize is winning Super Bowls. But what would this do for the confidence of Jimmy Garoppolo after the 49ers 3 years ago paid him a boatload of money, brought him to San Francisco for a second-round pick, and say, you're the man, you're our franchise quarterback. And then you bring in the franchise quarterback of most franchise quarterbacks in Tom Brady. It would be a quarterback controversy out the first, number one. Number two, it would destroy Jimmy Garoppolo's confidence. Number three, which is a positive, yeah, you would like to think that you'd win the Super Bowl easily with Tom Brady as your quarterback, but at the same time, you have to remember Tom Brady was in a different system. Bill Belichick got Tom Brady those Super Bowl titles. Another question would be, would Tom Brady trust Kyle Shanahan enough to follow his play calling? Now, if you bring Tom Brady in to San Francisco, you get a boatload of knowledge. A boatload of knowledge. But for Brady, you'd go from Josh McDaniels being your OC to a former OC and Kyle Shanahan, who's also the head coach. There's got to be a trust factor there. And another question you have to ask, would Brady want to make the move to the team that he admired for many years, to the team that he wanted to be a part of and imitate the man who became the man in Joe Montana? Would Brady want to make the move cross country for his family? Would it be a good fit for him? There are so many questions surrounding this and so much intrigue that I saw on a couple of programs that the number one destination for Tom Brady, crazy enough as it sounds, is the San Francisco 49ers. And that woke me up out of a dead sleep. I said, what? But then again, you bring in a fellow who won 6 Super Bowls into your organization looking for its 6th Super Bowl, has had 2 recent shots at it with 2 different quarterbacks but couldn't get the job done. All of that is in play. And Brady could easily make the decision, you know what, I played my entire career in New England, I'm going to stay in New England, which is what I expect to happen. But this is the juiciest part of the free agent speculation that I've been a part of as a fan and as a journalist for a long, long time. A long time. We will just have to see what happens, won't we? But it's going to be interesting. Good Lord, it's going to be interesting. What do you guys think? Tweet the show at SNW Digital Media. I'll take a pause for a break, and I got more for you. Back in a flash.
You're tuned in to the Daily BS. Sports and culture combined into one.
This man is Cole Johnson, the man in charge of Call Sports, and he joins me right now. What's going on, brother?
Doing good, man. Doing real good. How are you?
I'm doing great. And both of us now have nationally syndicated shows, 2 of them, as a matter of fact, that became official as of today, starting the new week. And I'm so excited for you. I thank you for inviting me to that Facebook group. We'll talk more about that toward the end of the show. But let's fill in some blanks here.
All right.
There was a clip that you sent me before I went on air with a basketball game from the legendary Michael Jordan that described perfectly today's NBA.
Didn't he, though?
I mean, to a T. And that was 1992 when that happened, folks. Of course, I'm talking about when Michael Jordan set the record for most three-point goals made in a finals game. At the time, it was 6. He said he didn't want to shoot the 3 all the time. It just felt good that night. And it took away from what he loves to do, which is drive to the basket, get to the hole, take a jump shot if necessary, and keep his teammates involved.
Right.
Now, save Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, why don't the rest of the league get that message? and here's your lob, right back to you with the lob, because that was your lob to me when you sent me that clip. So right back to you with that lob.
And before I answered that question in full, the reason you correctly stated that Klay and Steph are excluded from this conversation is because they changed the way the game was played. And they could actually sit out there, and they can also create their own shot too. They can sit out there and chunk threes and make them on a 45 to 50% clip.
Yep.
And that might be a bad night for them.
Yeah.
That's just how good they are as shooters. But what really amazes me about how the league is now is that sports is a copycat league. I don't care what sport it is. When we see one entity do something, we want the players want to emulate that somehow, some way. So when Jordan was doing what he did, penetrating to the hole, looking for a dunk, or dish to somebody open. What happened? We saw an influx of those types of players, and we still see them today.
Yes.
Because he was so far ahead of his time. We are seeing those players now, and now we look at them and it's like, cool, you do that, awesome. Where when Jordan did it was spectacular because he just did it on a better clip altogether. We're seeing the same thing now, and I can say the same thing about Curry and Clay. You got Curry who mastered the art of not just shooting and hitting threes, but he's mastered the art of stretching defenses to where you have to be concerned about that guy as soon as he crosses midcourt.
Yep.
Because he has been known in games to chunk it from midcourt and further back and hit them like it's a 5-foot jumper for him. So when teams started to see Curry and then Clay along with him hit these jumpers with the dexterity they did, they're like, okay, well, we want to emulate that. And so, of course, we see the Russell Westbrook. We see the James Hardens. And then, and those are the ones who are playing the similar positions. We're also now seeing the Joel Embiids and the Giannis Antetokounmpos who think, well, you know what? We can do that along with Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic. We can stretch that game out and shoot threes, and then you start to see on SportsCenter, well, this guy hit 5 threes like Giannis did one day.
Yes.
Yeah, Giannis hit 5 threes, and they laud him for hitting 5 threes in a game. I'm like, well, that's not really his game.
It's not. It really isn't.
It's not really his game. And Jordan was saying then, Game 1, 1992 NBA Finals / World Championship Series. He actually said then, that's not my game either. But I just had a hot hand. He hit 6 threes in the first half, took 10 in that first half. He said, I didn't want to get to the point where I just settle for the 3-point line. I'm waiting for the ball to come to me. But I'd be doggone if now, almost 30 years later, that's exactly what we see now.
That's exactly what we see.
He said that
now.
28 years ago.
Yep.
And you look at the product now, that's exactly what you see. You see so many guys, 6 foot to 7 foot. They get to the 3-point line, they wait, they want the ball to rotate to them, and then they take their shot from 24 feet and further back.
And I exclude...
And they don't realize that hurts the game.
Yeah, and I exclude Steph and Clay for not only the fact that they can do it and do it every night, but I've said this on my morning show so many times where I've had you on, they do it within the flow of their offense. Big difference.
That's the key right there. That's the key right there. And that's why while I was talking about with Jordan, that we see these influx of guys who are athletic. They can take you off the dribble. They are athletic and they can switch hands when they're in the air, and they can contort their body any way they can. You see these players, they're doing it because they can do it. Jordan did it not necessarily because he can do it. He did it because he was like saying, there isn't an athlete on the court like me, and you're gonna have to step up your effort to stop me.
Yep.
And whatever it is I gotta do to be better than you, I'm going to do it better than you.
Exactly.
It wasn't a trick for him. It wasn't having him say, well, look, I could do a reverse layup. I can dunk over a 7-footer.
Which
he
he's
wasn't
done.
doing it to boast, and he did on a dare. Well, God, I love that.
Yeah.
But he didn't do it. He didn't do it just to do it. It wasn't arbitrary for him.
No.
It was, this is in the flow of the offense. Just like you said with Stephen Clay, Jordan did his in the flow of the offense, but you see so many now who do Jordan not quite as well as he did. And it bogs down the offense, just like people doing Stephen Clay bogging down the offense too, because we have this week, and I'm so glad you had me on now. This week we had not one, But two fellas have triple doubles and they scored 40 points, but they shot horrible from the field.
Yep.
But people are saying, well, it was a 40-point triple-double for Trae Young, a 40-point triple-double for James Harden. Okay, fine. They scored 40 points.
And how many shots did it take him to get to 40 points?
30 each. Each. Not total. 30 shots each. And that's still a basketball in 2020.
Yep.
Get out of here.
And we have spoken about this on the morning show so many times over. You and I, individually and as a team, have caught so much backlash from saying what a lot of people will say is such ridiculous statements. And while I love putting statements out there and then backing them up with facts, I'm going to put another statement out there, which I've done on the morning show many times over. And if you haven't, you can go search the archives of Snowman in the Morning, shameless plug, and also Cole Sports and Cole Sports on the Daily, another shameless plug. I've said this several times with you on the program, with my wife in front of me, with my friends in front of me, and I've been called blasphemous. Thank you, Stephen A., for that. By saying LeBron James ain't all that and hasn't been all of that for 17 years. I await the dunk from you, my friend.
It all started when he donned the number that we all associate 23 with.
Mm-hmm.
It all started there, and the endless comparisons from 2003, and I'm talking about before he got into the league, 2003, right around now.
Mm-hmm.
And for 18 years almost, it has been steadied. This guy is the next Michael Jordan. This guy is the next Michael Jordan. This guy's the next Michael Jordan. And I'm looking at this game. Then 18. Now 35. And I see no resemblance of the game that looks like number 23, the Bulls. None. Zilch. Zero.
None.
Now, am I saying that LeBron is a bad player?
No.
Am I saying LeBron isn't one of the best that we've seen? No, I'm not saying that either.
Right.
But am I saying he's the best we've ever seen? Heck no.
Hell no. Hell no.
He's not by a long shot. So the fact that, and I'll say thank you, Stephen A. again. The fact that we have the temerity, the unmitigated gall to actually say that LeBron James is not the sun, the moon, and the stars and all there is therein. When it comes to the NBA, we must, one, not know what we're talking about. Two, are old. And three, are biased because we're in the media. Well, okay. Well,
biased,
I don't
you
consider
say?
myself old. Yes.
Biased,
one, I don't consider myself old.
Biased, you
yes,
say?
And three, and yes. Biased?
Biased.
I'll admit this. Yes, I am biased.
Mm-hmm.
But I am biased toward the truth. I'm not biased toward anything else.
I'm biased toward the truth also. I'm biased in the feeling that I was spoiled rotten for some 20, 25 years. And I'll give you a perfect incident where I caught a lot of backlash. When I was really active on Facebook 3 years ago, when I was living back in Indiana, after a Christmas Day game between the Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers, I put this statement out there when I said that Draymond Green is a better forward than LeBron James. You took a look at all the backlash that I got that day, and I still get it. And it started with everything from How can you say such a thing to you don't know your basketball to what game have you been watching? I said, well, it's kind of because of the fact that LeBron took 25 shots and Draymond Green took only 12 and was more effective than LeBron. And that was just on that Christmas Day game, 2015. That was just on that Christmas Day game. I put a post up Christmas Day 2015 saying that Draymond Green is a better forward than LeBron James. And I based it on what I saw that Christmas Day game in which Draymond posted a double-double and LeBron James took 25 shots. I got every question in the book from how can you say such a thing to what game are you watching to what in the world are you talking about, and then some people coupled it with LeBron James is the greatest player ever, which I have called hogwash. Oh, I got it all.
I'm sorry.
I got all of it. I'm still getting all of it. And someone actually challenged me, and people still continue to challenge me. And they would say something to the tune of, name me one forward that you watch that's better than him. I'll give you several, and I'll start with James Worthy.
I just give you one, and I stop there. Larry Bird.
Larry Bird, yes. Give you another.
Yes,
give you another 33.
Is better than Jordan, other than him, but I just stop at Bird. I stop there.
The list is endless. I'll give you another 33. Scottie Pippen.
Look, this is what I think people don't get when it comes to basketball knowledge. LeBron is a small forward, but you look at his stats, and he plays like a shooting guard.
Yes.
I mean, one of the things that a forward, small or power, is supposed to do is bring down boards. That's one of the things that a small forward is supposed to do. So when I see LeBron on average putting down 7 boards, I'm like, okay, that's cool and all, but you're 6'8" and 260. I thought you were bigger than everybody and stronger than everybody else on the court. That total should be that big man. That total should be a 10, if not higher than that.
Yep.
So why is it that the rebounding's so low to me? And that's just how I look at that from
exactly.
just his position. So I'm not, like I said, he's an awesome player in terms of the overall game. And I will say this until I am cold in the grave. LeBron James's game doesn't resemble anybody's other than Magic Johnson.
Yes.
And he's a poor man's Magic Johnson because Magic is the best passer the league has ever seen.
Oh man.
But his game resembles Magic Johnson's. The size is similar. The court vision is not quite the same, but it's along those lines. And LeBron controls the game, or tries to control the game, similar to how Magic did. So that's what I see. And so when I see him, I don't even think forward. I don't even think Jordan. I think Magic.
Yes.
I think he wants to be a 6'8" point guard. That's what I think. And I'm not saying that's wrong or right. I'm just saying that's just how his game is. And because of that, I'm going to look at him a little differently.
That's how his
And
game
if
is.
that upsets people, fine. It just upsets them.
Yep.
But he's not the best I've ever seen. I'm sorry. And like you said earlier, I was spoiled by seeing so many other players who were greater than he was in my era.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan being at the top of the list, Magic and Bird being two others.
Yes.
And I can name a few others along with them.
We all.
And so, no. Please,
all of us that
please send all of that to me, because I'm like, no, and I got the proof. And you can say I'm a fanboy for whomever. I'm not. But whatever your opinion is, that's cool with me.
Mm-hmm.
I just know what my eyes have seen, and I have seen this sport, and you have seen this sport pretty much the same time as me since 1980.
Yes.
And I have seen in the 40 years since then many basketball games, many basketball players. And I can unequivocally say, and I know you can too, LeBron James, nowhere near the best I've ever seen.
No.
Nowhere near it.
Nowhere near. I mean, hell, we got spoiled with the Dream Team in 1992. You want to encapsulate what we watched for the better part of 20 years? Pull up the Dream Team 1992. That's the basketball we watched in what we would call the golden era of basketball. And I'm talking about 1979 to 1998. You put those 20 years in a 1 month capsule, you have the Dream Team. Period.
Yeah.
You have the Dream era. Okay? I mean, James Worthy, Scottie Pippen, MJ, Patrick Ewing. All right? That entire era is encapsulated in those months. In those months that we watched basketball, and I'm referring, both you and I have watched basketball for the same 40 years. I can unequivocally say LeBron ain't nowhere near the best of all time, because we had it in the form of different players for 20 seasons.
Yes. And they played different positions. The horror of the fact that in today's times, people are, fans are lost. Fans are wowed by the fact that you can be a 6'10" point guard who can dish and penetrate and have a game of a guard. I'm like, cool. I'm happy to see that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's wasted, because the game was meant to have 3 different or 4 different styles of play on the court.
Yes.
I mean, the center was the big man. I mean, he patrolled everything, made sure that on defense you couldn't do jack if someone were to penetrate into the lane.
Yep.
And on offense, if you needed those buckets that the others can't really get, that should be their easy too. The power forward, he's the protection for the center.
Yes.
And he more than likely will be the goon or the thug of the team. He more than likely will be the guy who would make sure that whomever's messing with the crew, they don't mess with him anymore. Charles Oakley is a great example.
Charles Oakley, one of my favorites of all time. One of my absolute favorites of all time. From my Bulls teams back in the day, Horace Grant. Protection.
That's another good example.
Protection under the rim. Dennis Rodman a little bit later. Your Houston Rockets. Otis Thorpe.
Yeah. I mean, people had a role. I mean, small forwards. You were blessed to have Scottie Pippen on your team.
Yes.
That if there was anyone that was the do-it-all position, that was it. But they didn't necessarily have to do it all. They had the point guard that can handle the rock.
Mm-hmm.
If they had the power forward that pull on the boards or the center, or if they had the shooting guard like Pippen had, who could take both of the scoring responsibility off his shoulders.
Yeah.
Because look, let's be honest. Pippen could have averaged 22, 23 a game if he wanted to.
Easy.
If he wanted to, he could do that. But he didn't need to do that because he had the best offensive player in the history of the game as a teammate.
And
so what did he do? It's like, okay, go ahead.
And the best part, Scotty has said as such.
Yes. So what did Scotty do? He was like, all right, Mike, you got the offense. I'm the man on defense. And that is where the game is missing. It's like, okay, we when we see Kawhi Leonard and we see Paul George, people think, oh, they are elite. And yet they are elite. But remember, we used to see that on a daily basis.
Yes, thank you. I bring up the Seattle Supersonics. Lord, do I miss the Seattle Supersonics. There was a fellow, and I brought this name up so many times in our conversations. There was a fellow by the name of Tom Chambers, who was one of the original stretch forwards. You know who his protector was? Another underrated player. His name is Xavier McDaniel.
Ooh, man, I miss him. I miss him. I miss players like him.
Yes.
Now, you remember. I know you remember this because, you're a Bulls fan through and through. That 1992 Eastern Conference Semifinal series that the Bulls had with the Knicks.
With New York.
After one of those games, I can't remember which one. I think it was either after game 1 or game 5. There was a reporter that interviewed him, and Xavier said, "Look, this is a man's game.
Mm-hmm.
That is my NBA.
Game 5.
That right there is my NBA.
Game 5.
It is a man. Yes." That's what I thought. I was like, it was either game 1 or game 5, but I know it was one of those games. It came after Knicks win. I can't remember which one. He said, "This is a man's game." I'm like, you're darn right, it's a man's game.
It is.
28 years later, it doesn't resemble the man's game that it should have continued to be after that.
Exactly. It really doesn't.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Because, and I've said this on your show, I've said this on mine. Because of Jordan and the shooting guard like him, the league is now turned to a 10-wing player league.
Yes,
because everybody thinks they can do what Jordan can do.
And they tried.
And they tried. And it further got banned by seeing Kobe basically clone Jordan and do the same things that he did.
Yep.
So I'm like, it's like we're seeing just nothing but 10-wing players. Forget these specialized positions. And then the lost art, the general on the floor, the point guard.
Shall we go there with John Stockton? Shall we go there with Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas? Point guards, ladies and gentlemen. Point guards.
I mean, these guys led their teams on the floor. It wasn't the fact they were the smallest guy in the court, therefore they got a chance to run on the court with the guys. No, they had a brain for the game. They thought almost just like, and in some cases even better than the coaches that were above them.
Absolutely.
And they controlled the flow of the game, and the game's flow was a lot better then. It was. Now it's just like, well, it's whatever. It's whatever. If we can do just nothing but fast break, cool. If we can just simply, just like Jordan said in '92, just sit back from the 3-point arc and just shoot threes, cool. If we can do, which infuriates me to no end. If we can have the point guard sit at the top of the key or the top of the 3-point line and dribble the ball for 20 seconds before you take a shot.
Russell Westbrook,
then that's how
anyone?
we're going to play the game.
Russell Westbrook, anyone? Chris Paul, anyone? James Harden, anyone? And Stephen Curry catches most of the flack saying, well, he just shoots. He's the last remaining point guard in the NBA. Yes, the offense flows through him, and yes, he shoots a lot, but and I've said it on my morning show, I've said it on your program, he is the last remaining true point guard in the NBA. Period.
Here's why people don't say that he is a true point guard. look at that assist total. They think because its assist total for a point guard is low. I mean, six assists, it's pretty good. It's actually strong for this current crop of NBA players.
Mm-hmm.
But, for the point guard position, yeah, it's rather low. But the thing is, this is the impact that Curry has. And I've said this on your show, and I've said this on mine.
Yep.
The fact that he can shoot from 35 feet and beyond, he spreads the floor to where he can have his own teammate, into Draymond Green, be the guy who has the most assists on the team.
Absolutely.
Because basically what Curry does, he does what, and you come from Chicago, so you know where I'm about to go with this. Curry does what you call the hockey assist.
Uh-huh.
So he may not be the guy who dishes to the person who shoots the ball, but he's the man who dishes the ball to the man who dishes it to the guy who shoots the ball. And that is done because the court is spread, and they have so much room to maneuver. The Warriors have so much room to maneuver underneath all of that.
Yep.
And because of that, Curry creates the atmosphere to where the ball freely moves.
And it
that
does
actually
move.
is what a point guard is supposed to do.
And it's
That's just as rare that you don't really ever hear.
It's what Curry has done for 10 seasons. It's what Curry has done for 10 seasons, and yet people still want to classify him as just a shooter, and that's just simply not the case. And you bring up a great point and a great reference. Being from Chicago, I am a big-time Blackhawks fan. The assist to the goal scorer. That's the Golden State Warriors of today. Assist, basket.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way
and that has been them ever since they got successful in 2015. That's been them.
Yes.
That's been them all day. Because with Curry, with Clay too, even with Green, it doesn't matter who gets the assist.
Nope.
It doesn't matter who gets the bucket. Just as long as they get the bucket and the person gets the assist, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
They just want the bucket to be made.
Mm-hmm.
They want the bucket to be made in the most fluid way possible.
Yes, indeed. And you said it. You said a great word, fluid. 1980s Lakers, anyone? 86 Boston Celtics, anyone? 91 Bulls, anyone? 94 Rockets, anybody? Fluid.
Yeah.
Fluid.
Yes.
Fluid offense. Fluid.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't see that anymore. 2000 Spurs, anybody? You want to talk about an offense not being an offense because the offense ain't fluid for most teams today. Golden State gets a lot of flack for this 5-year run, but they just play sexy basketball. No, you don't know how hard they work. Again, 80s Celtics, 80s Lakers, anybody? You want a fluid offense? I tell you what, you've said on my program many times, and I'm going to throw you a lob of all lobs, that the best passing team was the 86 Celtics, and I am very much inclined to agree with that. There is one playoff sequence that typifies what the 86 Celtics were about. They were playing the Atlanta Hawks in Game 2 of their first-round series, and coming out of the halftime break, the Celtics led by 11. 66-55. By the time that third quarter was done, it was 102-61. 102-61. 36-6 in that third quarter. The Celtics had 16 baskets in that third period. And there were assists and double assists on all of them.
And that is why I've always said the best team I've ever laid eyes on is the 86 Celtics. They had it all. All of what we just described, that is what they had. They had the protector as a power forward. They had the center that could score easy buckets they needed. They actually had two because they had Walton coming off the bench and they had McHale who started. So
Kevin McHale.
You had that. You had yeah,
Kevin McHale. Why did
one of the strongest power forwards of all time,
and one of the smartest,
and one of the most sound, one of the smartest and one of the most fundamentally sound power forwards ever. Never gets the credit he deserves. That dude knows how to play post basketball.
So why I got to ask this question about your team. Why did the Houston Rockets make a stupid move and let him go? Why? They were so on the precipice of a run, and they let Kevin McHale go. Why?
All because they had a sluggish, not a slow, a sluggish start. And I don't think it was him. And in fact, I know it wasn't him. The only reason I could think of, it would have to have been he didn't get along with James Harden. That's the only way I could think that McHale parted ways with the Rockets. Because if it was any other reason or rationale, I could not explain it away if I tried. And even in saying that, it is stupid.
Teams find the perfect coach for their team, and Kevin McHale was it for the Houston Rockets.
And Kevin McHale was the one who said to Harden, you know what? You're the man. You're the man. I'll give you the keys to the team. No one did that before.
Nope.
He didn't get that at OKC. He was the sixth man there. Yeah. And he was going to continue to be the sixth man there. McHale was like, look, you're our star. You guide us. He gave him that. He gave Harden that power to realize, oh, I can be an elite player in this league today. Yep. Okay, cool. And I thought they were going to have a good run for a while too. And then when they said, okay, and they described it by saying, oh yeah, you had a 7-11 start to the season. Nah, we got to let you go. Like, what? Why? And then they had to further exacerbate my tension by having Mike D'Antoni, be the coach of the team after follow him. I'm like, oh, great. At least the Rockets play defense with McHale. They're not even going to concern themselves with defense with D'Antoni.
And
like this
since that time,
they're going to play more isolated.
Yep. And since that time, the Rockets have not lived up to billing. Since they let Kevin McHale go and let Mike D'Antoni walk in, the Houston Rockets have not lived up to billing. Especially, and I'm going to give you a real big fat lob on this one, especially in the playoffs when facing a certain team from the Bay Area.
You know where I'm going to go with this. So, I think this was 17. The general manager of the team that I root for, sometimes the team I want to throttle, Daryl Morey, said that we built a team that is specifically constructed to beat the Warriors. He must have missed, because that's the only time they really did with consistency beat the Warriors.
Yes.
Because of the postseason, they've had 4 cracks at them in 5 years.
In 5 years.
They came away with a donut each series.
Yep.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. What makes it even worse, you were talking about how the Warriors, they learn how to make the ball move. They learn how to not have the ball be stagnant.
Yep.
Well, there's a reason why that ball isn't stagnant, and there's a reason why they ran the offense the way they ran it after they did it beforehand. It was because the Warriors in 2012 and 2013, 2014, looked just like the Rockets in 2017 and 18.
Yep.
Isolation heavy. isolation heavy. Am I wrong, Mr. Snow?
No, you're not, sir. No, you're not.
So when you have a team who played isolation heavy, perimeter focused offense,
Mm-hmm.
and along with that, they witnessed how things can get stuck in the mud because of that style.
Yep.
And they learned how to not play that style anymore. Don't you think it would benefit a team that has already conquered that style and went on and evolved
Mm-hmm.
to beat a team that played in the former style that they used to play?
Yep. Absolutely.
So if you're not an NBA executive or a coach, and I'm not an NBA executive or a coach, can see this, how is it that people who are paid
Millions
to
of
create
dollars.
these teams not see?
Millions
Yeah,
of
they get paid
bucks.
millions of dollars, and they don't see it. that is what boggles my mind, grates my nerves, because I'm like, and I said it even before that series in 2018, where the Rockets had home court advantage, and of course they threw it all away by being stupid as usual. and I don't even give the excuse of, well, Chris Paul was hurt in the game 5. No. Mm-mm.
No.
They had home court advantage.
Yep.
They should have taken care of business. Having home court advantage, they didn't. So I said this the fall before that series. I said there is no way you're going to beat this team the way it's constructed unless you decide to move the ball the same way that the Warriors do. Because if you do, then you might have their tongues wag, just like we see the Warriors have your tongues wagging on the defensive end. And you might have those quarters, too, like they put on you, where they score 35 points and you score only 9. So, I mean, if you can do that, I mean, cool. If not, shut up and take the loss that you're going to take in this upcoming season against them. And that's exactly what happened.
Game 6, 2018 Western Finals.
That should have been there.
Oracle Arena.
That should have been the Rockets.
Yep, Oracle Arena, Oakland, California. The Rockets open a 17-point lead on the Warriors, the defending world champions at the time, folks. And I know this show is NBA heavy, but whenever I get Cole Johnson on, we take a stroll down memory lane and we bring the facts. And the facts are these from that playoff series. The Rockets opened a 17-point lead, and with about 6 minutes remaining in the first half, took their foot off the throttle and let the Warriors hang around. Yes, the Rockets took an 11-point lead at the half, 62-51.
Yep.
Here's the problem.
Yep.
The Rockets missed 5 of their first 8 shots in the third period.
And that was the game.
That was your game. A scoring differential in that second half, and you love pointing this out on my show, and we talked about it after the game, 64-25.
4-25. Yep.
How do you allow the highest scoring team in the NBA, when you led them by 17, to hang 64 in the second half, and you only get 25?
Right.
64.
Yeah. Now this is what angers me about just talking about that. This is what angers me more than any other point. You're hurt yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're hurt yourself because the starting point guard having him out, it's going to be a blow, no question about that. But you come out blazing. You come out on fire.
Yep.
You're on the road. You have that energy of, let's kill the beast. The foot is on the neck of the beast. You're supposed to tighten that step on the
Yep.
neck.
Every time.
What do? You let up. You think, oh, we still have a game at home. We really don't need this game. You throw up the white flag in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter when you only scored 9 points.
9 fourth quarter points.
And it sounds like a comedy bit when you say it all. and the post game, Tony in the post game was like, we're fine. We got a game at home. I'm like, doggone it, fool! You had them then. You do not give a champion life. I don't care who it is. You don't give a champion life. It's like the team that you represent, D'Antoni, said 24 years prior or 23 years prior. The head coach, Rudy Tomjanovich, they said, "Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion." You underestimated the heart of this champion, and it got you bounced off the playoffs. And then it got you bounced out the playoffs at home when you had a 10-point lead going to halftime in that game.
Yes.
So I'm like,
and you held the Warriors to 43 first half points.
I was about to say 51 in Game 6. You held them to 43 in Game 7. So you're thinking, okay, cool. They may have learned their lesson from Game 6. Nah. That 10-point lead turned to an 8-point deficit in the fourth quarter. To begin the fourth quarter. I'm like, come on.
Before you can blink. Before you can blink.
And that's why I looked at Morey and say, this team's constructed to beat the Warriors. If that would be the case, you'd be doing the same thing to them that they're doing to you. You would be having these 35-point outbursts while you hold teams to 15, like they're doing to you on a consistent basis.
Let's
and they're just running you ragged, hitting threes, penetrating to the hole, having your defense just basically not knowing what's hitting them, how to defend you, what to do, who to cover. And no. If you had them start to be the Warriors, that is the team that you would look like, and you don't look like them.
And you'd be passing the ball a lot more, and it would be leading to more baskets.
What a concept.
What
an absolutely revolutionary concept. Instead of saying, you know what, our shot is a 3-point shot. And in the game, to me, the hardest game for them to have won would have been that one, because I really believe the Rockets would have won the World Championship. They would have hoisted the Relayo Brown Trophy.
Yes.
Because the Cavs were not the team that was going to compete with the Rockets. And they definitely didn't compete with the Warriors, and I knew that too. That was the hardest game they had to win.
The closeout.
They died with the three. Yeah, that was the closeout game. And what did? They decided to just chunk up threes, and they missed 27. They missed 27. Period. Missing 27 threes. Period is bad enough.
But 27.
You missed 27 threes
in a row.
27 threes in a row you miss. You mean to tell me after number 5 consecutive you miss, no one on the team said, maybe we need to get easier baskets. Maybe we need to bring in the shooting range. Maybe we need to shoot from 15. Maybe we need to penetrate more to the hole. Maybe we need to involve the bigger men on our team to score, because nothing's falling for anybody from 23 feet and beyond.
Nope. And let's move to 2019. And you and I spoke about this on the morning show ad nauseum. I cannot tell you how many people had gotten in my face that were cheering on the Rockets just because they wanted to see them beat the Golden State Warriors.
No, I cheered just because that's my team. But I'd give it to fans.
I know. And you excluded from that particular sentence. So I get it. I get it. The real fans knew what was going on. You're a real fan. That's why I love talking to you.
Right.
You get it. You absolutely get it. But these people that kept coming up to me, we're going to beat the Warriors this year. Fool. You really expect to beat the Warriors in a playoff series when you haven't yet?
And still haven't?
And they still haven't. And they still you often bring this up to me, and I love the fact that you did. Daryl Morey said something to the tune of, "It's our turn to beat the Warriors." He said it before the series started.
Yep, said it before that series started. Yep.
And what does Stephen Curry do with less than a minute to go in game one? Bang! A three right
Turned
in their face.
And that, to me, should have been the game the Rockets should have had.
They should have
stolen. And I'm not
saying
saying referee anything. I'm talking about them.
Yep, they should have.
The Rockets themselves should have taken care of the business thing, because you cannot play that
stolen
team.
That one.
Yes, they should have stolen that one. You cannot play that team who is
that
very
well.
good at home, I may add. You can't play them that well for 47 minutes. Be with them lockstep for 47 minutes, and you allow that shot from that player to go in. You can't do that. You have to steal that game.
There are two other moments.
That to me was a series.
There are two other moments. There are two other moments in that series that I will never forget. The second one came in Game 5. The Warriors led that game from start to finish.
Yes. Yep.
Late in Game 5, there was a scramble for the ball. Klay Thompson dives after it. Kevon Looney dives after it. Every Rockets player around that ball just watched.
Stand around. And they looked at Klay penetrate to the hole. I cannot tell you the level of frustration I had.
Yeah.
I saw, and I think the Rockets wore black jerseys that game. I saw 4 black jerseys stand around. Did not get in Klay's way.
Nope.
Did not dive for the ball. I saw 4 black jerseys stand around while I saw two white jerseys active. One in retrieving the ball, the other penetrating, getting the basket that sealed the game. And I'm saying to myself, you got to be kidding me. You had in that game late in the third quarter, to me, the opportunity for them to say, we got him now, when Durant went down with his injury.
Yes, and the Warriors were up by 10 at that point.
Moment.
The Warriors were cruising along. They weren't up. They were tied.
Oh,
that's right. They were tied. They were tied.
Yeah, they were tied.
Thank you.
And Durant hit the bucket, put them up by 2, and then he hobbled off the court. And I hated seeing that. Seriously.
I hated seeing that too.
I can root against a team. I don't want to see a player get injured. I don't care who it is.
Exactly.
Exactly. But my thought was, this is your moment, man. The best player. Look, no apologies to Harden. The best player on the court is gone. The best player in the series is gone. He is not on the court. This should be, Mr. Harden, your moment where it's like, okay, I can take over a series. The heck was he?
And he did.
Played a horrible fourth quarter in that game. And then after the first half, where the Rockets should have buried them early in that game.
Yep.
Let them hang around. And if I'm not mistaken, the game was tied in half.
Yes.
With Curry scoring nothing.
Not a thing. And the bad part, it was a 6-man that got them. And the bad part, it was a 6-man that got them even. And of course, I'm speaking of the one and only Andre Iguodala.
Yep. It was a 6-man that got them there. It was Andre that kept the close the first half. It was Klay who paced the Warriors scoring wise the whole way the first 3 quarters. And by the time the fourth quarter started,
Steph was
Klay
hot.
said, "It's my show."
Steph was hot.
23 fourth quarter points later, bye-bye Rockets for the 4th time in 6 years, courtesy of the Golden State Warriors.
Yep.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, you had 2 gold opportunities in back-to-back years. You had home court advantage in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
You had the best player on the Warriors injured in 2019, and you whiffed both times. And what makes it even worse, you whiffed in 2019 badly.
Yeah,
with Durant injured.
Extremely badly. Extremely badly.
This is and this is to me when the series was over in my mind. So after game one, so the Rockets think that Harden was fouled in his attempt to shoot a three in his normal. I'm gonna dribble close to the defender. I'm gonna leap as close to the defender as I can.
Yep.
Draw contact, fall back, and get the foul. The refs swallowed the whistle, as they should have, I mean.
Yes.
And Brick went out of bounds. The Rockets got the ball back. Then Harden turns the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, so here it is after game one. The Rockets decide to levy a complaint to the NBA officials and the NBA officers saying, the refs stole 2018 series that we had with the Warriors. Here's the proof. Here's the proof. This was the championship last year. Idiot. That was 11 months prior. You're in the series with them now. Why don't you focus on beating this team now? And when I saw that, I said,
the series is
the
over.
The Warriors are in the Rockets' head so much.
Mm-hmm.
So much that they have to resort to that. Well, it's like what I heard Joe Dumars say about the Bad Boy Pistons when they started to make their run to make their to get their championship. He said we knew by the time tip-off happened we were in teams' heads because people were concerned about us beating them down.
Yep.
Well then, heck, we played our brand of basketball. We didn't have to worry about stuff. The game was over before it began. That's exactly how it was with the Warriors versus the Rockets. Well, the Rockets game was over before it began because the Warriors were in their head. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, really?
And
really?
Here's the sequence in Game 6 at the Toyota Center that put it away. In the midst of Steph scoring 33 in the second half, 23 in the final 9 minutes. Forget 12 minutes. He did in the final 9 minutes. Klay Thompson kept them afloat. Andre Iguodala kept them afloat. The Warriors were up by 3, 107 to 104. There was 41 seconds left and 6 on the shot clock, and Mike Breen take it away.
Finds Draymond Green. Green to the basket, kicks it out of Iguodala. Thompson for three. Bang! Klay Thompson from downtown. It's a 6-point lead. Timeout Rockets.
And that was your game.
And that was your series. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
The most beautiful, one of the most beautiful sequences when you have a team scrambling defensively. And remember, the Warriors worked the shot clock down.
Yep.
They worked the shot clock down, and they got it in the right person's hands. Klay Thompson kept them afloat in the third period, and Klay Thompson finished it.
It angers and frustrates me as a Rockets fan to know that you had a chance to see greatness before you. You had a chance to see greatness before you because 4 out of those 5 times that the Warriors won the Western Conference, they went through you to get there.
Yep. And
4 of those 5 times.
And ran roughshod through you.
They went through you. And ran roughshod in 2 of those series.
Yes, they did.
Went through you.
Yep.
Went through you. 5 games, 1-5 in the Western Conference Finals 2015. Swept them in 2016's first round.
Yep.
7 games in 2018, 6 games in 2019. You had a chance to see them up close and personal.
And you didn't do anything with
4 times in 5 years. And you went away no series victories against this team. You would think if you saw this opponent enough, you would learn something about them that no other team in the NBA would have because you dealt with them often enough, but you would find a way to beat them. Circa Bulls between 1988 and 1991 with the Pistons.
With the Detroit Pistons.
You would have thought that would have happened. It did not kick in.
Nope. It sure didn't. It sure didn't. And we got to kick it into a break, but we got more coming up.
You're tuned in to the Daily BS. Sports and culture combined into one.
I posed a question on Facebook, which tends to kind of get in trouble and tends to kind of get a little pushback against me, but I was fair. I was nice this time. And the question I posed was for the folks to fill in the blank. And the blank they needed to fill in, who do you think is the best quarterback coming out of this year's NFL draft? Well, here are some of the answers I got. Joe Burrow, of course. Jalen Hurts, of course. And then I get a wild card in Jordan Love out of Utah State. Now, I've had a chance to take a look at Jordan Love, and he's pretty dynamite. Let's see. Tua, of course. Tua Tagovailoa out of Alabama. Justin Herbert out of Oregon. And a couple people said they're even torn between Joe Burrow from LSU and Justin Herbert. But I'm going to be honest with you. There's a reason I put this question up there. And the reason I put this question up there is because I wanted to see if people would catch on to where I was going with it. And where I'm going is this. And one of my good buddies out of Texas, Remy Yates, caught on to what I was doing. All of these quarterbacks that are in this year's NFL draft are great quarterbacks, or they wouldn't have been selected to go to the combine, or they wouldn't put their names in the draft anyway. Joe Burrow, dynamite season, led the Tigers to the national championship. We'll start there. Can Burrow succeed behind that porous Cincinnati offensive line? Can Burrow succeed without having that many receivers to throw to? Will the Cincinnati coaches get smart and develop a spread offense that would be beneficial to Joe Burrow? Will they have a quarterback? I mean, they got Joe Mixon, they have Giovanni Bernard. I nearly forgot his name. But the question is going to be with the offensive line. Are they going to give Joe Burrow enough time to sling that cannon arm? As far as Tua goes, I don't know. I do not know about Tua. And the reason I say I don't know about Tua is because of his injury. He had a horrific hip injury at South Carolina. Now, he's due to be cleared soon. He's due to be cleared to resume football activity. But how is his hip going to feel? How healed is his hip? How healed is his body after not playing football for basically the second half of the year and not getting that final contact? I know he was with his teammates while Alabama unfortunately fell out of the college football playoff. And another thing you have to wonder with Tua is Tua going to follow the recent situation, I beg your pardon, the recent trend, that's the word I'm looking for, the recent trend, and of course my wife's waving at me, across from me, rolling her finger saying, get it out now, get it out. The recent trend, that's the correct word I'm looking for, of Alabama quarterbacks such as Tony Banks, A.J. McCarron, I got that wrong. Is a Saban-coached quarterback going to succeed in the NFL? Jamarcus Russell, Tony Banks, A.J. McCarron, in recent times. Jalen Hurts, of course, he was under Saban. Then he transferred to Oklahoma, had a great season at Oklahoma, and then I come to Jalen Hurts right now. You know what? Jalen Hurts is the best way I can describe him. Even though he's got a rocket arm, I don't trust his accuracy, and I don't trust his legs, because he could get very he could get happy feet in the pocket and try to take off at every opportunity. He could take off at every opportunity and be more of a running quarterback. And if you don't have a pocket presence, not saying Jalen Hurts does, but it needs to improve. It needs to improve. Jordan Love is the closest thing, and Jordan Love is out of Utah State. Jordan Love could be the most complete package that no one has ever seen, unless you live on the West Coast, unless you live in the West, unless you live in the mountain range, then you know all about Jordan Love. Someone brought this name to me, and I decided to take a look, and I've liked what I've seen so far. I have a little more film to break down with Jordan Love. But if you were to ask me the same question that I posed to all of my friends about who the best quarterback they think is coming out of the draft, I've got two answers for you. The first one, Jordan Love. As I said, I still have to do more. I have to do more of a deep dive on him and look at his footwork, look at his arm, look at his accuracy, look at how he gets the ball down the field, look at how he's able to lead a team. And my second answer is an Oregon quarterback, Justin Herbert. There was something, and I know people are going to say, well, Marcus Mariota didn't pan out. He panned out for a while. He just lost whatever moxie he had. I don't think that's going to happen with Herbert. With Justin Herbert, you're looking at a 6'6" quarterback, about 220 pounds, and most of that is muscle. I'm tempted to say all of it is muscle. I've had a chance to watch a lot of Oregon games over the past 2 seasons, and I really believe Justin Herbert is that man. Yes, he operates in a spread offense. He operated in a spread offense. But if he gets to the right team, if the right team drafts Herbert, then there is a possibility that Justin Herbert could be the absolute steal of this draft. Those are my two answers. Jordan Love, who's a mystery to a lot of people, myself included. As I said, I have to do more of a deep dive on Justin Herbert. On Jordan Love, I beg your pardon. I'm up early. I have to do more of a deep dive on Jordan Love. But a lot of people are high on him. And from what I've seen so far, I am also. Justin Herbert, to me, is one of the best quarterbacks in the draft. So those are my two answers. Jordan Love out of Utah State and Justin Herbert out of Oregon. A lot of people saw Justin Herbert and the performance he put on against Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl. If there was ever an audition tape for Justin Herbert to be selected in the first round of the 2020 NFL Draft that's going to take place in Las Vegas, Nevada, that was it. That was the tape that Justin Herbert needed to put out there, and it's out there. And teams are looking, and teams are salivating over Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert didn't come out last year for this reason. He wanted to get better. I say the same for Trevor Lawrence, who's at Clemson right now. But I would love to see what happens with all of these quarterbacks that are in the draft. I would love to see what happens with Tua. Can he recover from a hip injury? Joe Burrow, who I suspect will be chosen by the Cincinnati Bengals as the number 1 overall pick. Which brings this question to mind. Will the Miami Dolphins offer the world to Cincinnati for that number 1 pick? Or will Cincinnati be allowed to keep it? Because there are going to be a lot of people that are going to come after him, that are going to come after the Bengals, saying they want Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, any of these quarterbacks in the right offense is going to be successful. Any of these quarterbacks, Jordan Love, Justin Herbert, Tua Tagovailoa, Joe Burrow. But It's all going to depend on if they get into the right system and if they have the right personnel behind them. Jacob Eason in the right system could shine. Jacob Eason out of Washington could shine as well. Here are a couple of problems I have with Tua. And, as much as I love watching the highlights, I didn't do too much of a deep dive with Tua, but Remy Yates got this to my attention. The hip injury I already mentioned. Lack of good size. And the fact that he played for Nick Saban. I mentioned the other quarterbacks that Nick Saban has had in his stables between LSU and Alabama. Jamarcus Russell, Tony Banks, A.J. McCarron. It's going to be interesting to see if Tua breaks that mold, being a Saban-coached quarterback and succeeding in the NFL. A.J. McCarron was very successful at Alabama under Coach Nick Saban. He hasn't done much in the NFL. More to the point, he hasn't given a good chance to do anything in the NFL. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. It's definitely going to be interesting to see. Arm strength, field IQ, field vision, knowing when to throw it away or run it, all of that are important. But again, the system that they are incorporated into is going to be so important. Some other things are going to be important with some of these quarterbacks. Being a leader, a locker room guy. That's going to be huge. Would Big Ben be just as successful on the Bears if he hadn't been in Pittsburgh? Would Tom Brady be a 6-time champion if he went to any other team like the Browns and the Bengals? The right system will draft the right quarterback. The right team will draft the right quarterback. And then the right team that drafts the right quarterback, because there are going to be few available in this draft, will put the right pieces around him to succeed. So there are my two answers, and they're preliminary. Jordan Love out of Utah State and Justin Herbert out of Oregon. But the right team will draft the right quarterback, and the right team will also put together the right system around their quarterback. Just as the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes. Just as the San Francisco 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo. The team and the system are going to determine who's the best quarterback in this draft class.
You're tuned in to the Daily BS. Sports and culture combined into one.
So I decided to bring William Morgan back so we can talk some NBA and end this show the right way. With the playoffs looming, with all these... hell, I'm going to go ahead and say it. You know all these bronzexuals are getting on my nerve now, right?
No, he didn't say it.
I didn't come up with the term. Someone else came up with the term for me.
Yes, someone else did.
Someone else, one of my dearest friends, came up with the term. But these bronzexuals are getting on my nerve. They're getting on my nerves. Yes, the Lakers are first in the West. Yes, LeBron is having a great season. But will y'all get it right? He's not carrying that team. Anthony Davis is.
And I think another thing that sort of kind of sticks out about that Lakers organization to me, they are so, how can I say, gung-ho for trying to win a title.
Now.
They're bringing in the ultimate head case, Dion Waiters. Now, if that don't tell you something, nothing will.
You mean to tell me that a proud franchise like the Los Angeles Lakers, they're going to take a risk on Dion Waiters?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
That's the story that I saw today. And also they released someone to make a roster spot available. So if they want to sign him, they can truly sign him.
And you know something? someone just got this to my attention. Matter of fact, my wife just put this up on the screen for me. You know who else is working out for them?
Who?
J.R. Smith.
See. They're trying to be Cavs West. That's what they're trying to be. They're trying to be Cavs West.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Now watch Cleveland buy Kevin Love and Kevin Love go over to the Lakers. I'm telling you, man.
Oh yeah,
man.
They're all in. They're all in to win now, and they're going to have the oldest team on the floor. Here's my problem. There were two players out there at the trade deadline that they had a chance to snatch and didn't do it. And those two players were Derrick Rose and Andre Iguodala, a former MVP and a former Finals MVP. And they went after neither of them. Why?
Because management didn't want to part ways with Kuzma. They overvalue Kuzma. And the thing that kills me, outside of scoring, what is Kuzma bringing to the table?
Not a damn thing.
Outside of scoring, he's not locking anybody up on defense.
Nope.
He's not getting a lot of rebounds. He's not getting a lot of assists. All he's going to do is score. Ain't a bad shot he don't like. He'll come down the floor. He's not even trying to initiate the offense. He'll shoot a three. He'll jack a three up. And whether he make it or miss it, he'll run back down the court all proud of himself. No. And the rumor has it, the teams also wanted Danny Green, and the Lakers didn't want to give up both players. So,
that whole Laker team is a head case.
And the team still suffers from its primary issue. They don't have a bona fide outside shooter. They don't have a consistent outside shooter.
That's not the only issue. That's not the only issue. The biggest issue. Their main issue is an issue they've had for 2 years. No point guard.
Yeah. That too. Exactly. That too.
They've had no point guard for 2 seasons, depending on the experience of Rajon Rondo to get them to June. Why?
Rondo gives effort. I'm not going to sit here and say he doesn't. He gives effort.
I'll give you that.
But he's not considered in terms of having a consistent jump shot. He's going to be he could be a liability on defense. Particularly if they play someone like a Denver. Jamal Murray can just go to town on him. And I just think that between no point guard, LeBron playing those types of minutes that he's playing, and no consistent outside shooting.
None.
Oh, the Lakers are going to be in trouble. And people look at the Clippers and say, they're malcontents, but when you look at what they're doing, they've won 8 straight when they've had a healthy roster.
Yep.
So they have the perimeter defenders. Zubac will be good enough on the inside to at least slow down AD. He won't stop him, but he'll at least slow him down.
Yeah.
They got the perimeter people to stop LeBron. I just like the Clippers. And if the Lakers don't watch it, Denver can give them a run for their money.
Not only can Denver give them a run for their money, Memphis can give them a run for their money.
I love Ja Morant. Yes, I respect what Zion has been doing. He's a huge fan of. A lot of people, I'm looking at him, and he's playing great basketball. But let's look at Zion's game right now. Outside of a couple of threes here and there, he's playing within 4 or 5 feet, and
which to me presents this problem. His footwork has been exposed.
Yeah, and it doesn't help either that he's a tweener.
Exactly.
It doesn't help him at all that he's a tweener. The one thing about Larry Johnson, a player who he is compared to a lot of the times, he was a 6'7", 6'8" true small forward.
That he was.
You look at Zion, he's a tweener, and while he is big, he is strong, but on the other end, does he have the footwork on defense to stop opposing small forwards?
And my answer is no.
Mm-hmm. He's going to be going up against the LeBrons. He's going to be going up against the Kawhi Leonards. He's going to be going up against the Jimmy Butlers. And yes, he'll cause havoc on the other end maybe, but on the defensive end, he doesn't have the footwork to stay with anyone on the perimeter.
And not only does he not have the footwork, he doesn't have the conditioning either.
Mm-mm.
He cannot get up and down the floor.
That time that he was recovering from that energy really, really hurt him. Not only did it hurt him from his development, but it also hurt him from the standpoint of learning how to play, moving your feet, getting your defensive bearings about you on how to attack certain players, and on the defensive end. And that hurt him as well. He's going to have to be a better defender, and he's also going to have to come up with a consistent jump shot. If you give him a mid-range game, mid-range on down, he should be fine. But if he never picks up that mid-range game, eventually he's going to have trouble.
He's got trouble now. Now, and a lot of people love saying to me, "Oh, well, you have to give him a chance." I have given him a chance. This is where I lie with Zion Williamson. He's a fantastic athlete. And people who know this sentence coming from me knows I've said this before about one LeBron James. It goes like this. He's a fantastic athlete. He's not a good basketball player.
Yeah.
Ja Morant is a fantastic athlete, and he's a good basketball player that can only get better.
He's a complete basketball player,
that
too.
He is.
Let's not forget to say that.
Yeah.
Let's not forget to say that, too.
He is.
But it's going to be interesting to see if Zion will figure things out, because he's got so much working against him right now. And he's in New Orleans. Someone who has people from that area in his family, that food down there is no joke. You're going to have to stay away from the jambalaya and things like that to keep his weight under control. That's going to be a constant issue with them.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I remember him in college. Does it look to you and it may be because of the injury, does it look to you that he lost some explosiveness between college and now?
Yep.
That wasn't just me. Okay.
No, it wasn't just you. It wasn't just you. I saw that. People don't want to acknowledge that.
Right.
People do not want to acknowledge that since that injury that occurred at Cameron Indoor Stadium against North Carolina, he's lost a lot, including his explosiveness.
It's going to be interesting to see what he can do to make up for a lot of this stuff. Remember, Larry Johnson was on sort of kind of like the same path. But once his back injury occurred,
it derailed him.
Yeah, it derailed him big time. But before that point, outside of LJ not being able to shoot the three ball, you had no issues with Larry Johnson in terms of an athlete or a basketball player.
Exactly. Zion is one major injury, and he already had one, because when he blew out of his shoe at Duke, it cost him two injuries, one to his foot and the other to his knee.
Yeah.
That messed him up, and I believe it's going to mess him up for a while until he gets some weight off of him. This is from a guy who has struggled with weight most of his life. I know how it feels. I am very empathetic when it comes to Zion Williamson. Okay? But at the same time, he's got to chop some weight. He's got to chop some weight. And my contention is, and Gilbert Arenas was the first to say this, and I saw this in an online interview, Zion Williamson's playing out of position.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is too heavy. And nothing against Zion. I mean, I'll say it again. He's a fantastic athlete. People want to know my thoughts? Here they are. He's a fantastic athlete. Okay? But I believe he should be a shooting guard. If he ever develops great footwork, takes off some weight, and a consistent jump shot, he'll be one of the most dangerous shooting guards outside of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson in the league.
Yeah. Because there's physical gifts. Yeah, that is true. That is true.
I mean, he'd be a version of Scottie Pippen if he ever develops a jump shot and takes off some weight.
I also think that Brandon Ingram needs to show up more. It just can't be Zion Love for that team to be successful.
Exactly.
Ingram has to show up. What's that?
Exactly.
He's gonna have to show up more. Lonzo Ball's gonna have to show up more. Other people on that team are gonna have to come up with some big time performances, and they're gonna take over that 8th spot from Memphis.
And it cannot be just Drew Holiday and Zion Williamson. Have you noticed with New Orleans that since Zion has come onto the floor, everybody else has taken a step back?
Yeah, everybody's taking the back seat, and that can't happen.
No,
that can't happen.
That can't happen. And it shouldn't be happening. Yeah, Zion is the centerpiece, and I wish nothing but the best for him. Okay? But at the same time, everybody on that team, Zion included, is going to have to make some changes and step up their game. And so far they haven't.
Right. He changes the game because defenses rather focus on stopping him. He's changed the game that way. But on the other end, how you making your teammates better? Where are your assist numbers to go along with the points and the rebounds? How are you making your teammates better? That's my issue with them. Ja doesn't have that.
No.
Ja doesn't have that issue because Ja can see the whole floor.
Ja is wonderful at seeing the floor. Ja is absolutely fantastic at seeing the floor. And since we're talking about who's the runaway rookie of the year, it's Ja Morant, and it's not even close. How about another race that's not even close? And that's the most valuable player award. It's Giannis Antetokounmpo and nobody else. Period.
Nope. Giannis and that's it. Giannis and that's it.
And people want to put LeBron in this MVP conversation. I don't think so. He's lost a step. He's lost a shot. I mean, he's doing everything he can to will his Lakers into the NBA World Championship Series. But it's only March. You got to get through April and May before you get to June.
They talked about this earlier today on Undisputed. And the one thing that was interesting about Giannis, he leads the league in offensive PER and defensive win shares.
Yes.
So if you lead the league in offense and defense, it's kind of tough not to give it to him.
Yeah.
Now the narrative would be different with LeBron because he's such a media darling and people love this and people love that. Like the interview he gave today, where he told people they can kiss it behind. The media just ate that up.
They did. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
But outside of the narrative, Giannis has been the best on the floor.
Mm-hmm. He's been absolutely the best on the floor. He's the runaway MVP, and no one else should get consideration, especially not LeBron.
Right.
Here's the other point. Giannis, yes, I will give Giannis the MVP right now, but I don't trust Milwaukee coming out of the East.
I think the issue with Milwaukee, they don't have another superstar on that squad. yes, they have Chris Middleton, solid star type player,
Very.
but they don't have another superstar on that roster that can really help them win.
Right.
You see that in Boston. You see that somewhat in Toronto. You don't see that with Milwaukee. And if Giannis were to go down for some reason, yeah, Milwaukee may still end up being a playoff team because you're playing in the East. But in the West,
not
nope,
a chance.
Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it.
Not a chance at all.
And I would love to see them to get a second superstar there because again, Chris Middleton's very, very good. No slight to Chris, but he's just not that superstar player, and that may come back to bite Milwaukee.
One more point before we close up shop for the day.
Mm-hmm.
I put out on social media that there are two big men that are being targeted to go to Oakland, or San Francisco rather, and join the Warriors. And when I put these two names out there, people thought I was sick in the head. Listen to these names carefully.
Okay.
Karl Anthony Towns.
Believe that.
And the other is Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Believe that too. And the reason why I believe both of them is because if you look at the markets in which they play,
yeah,
both markets are small, and Giannis hasn't been on a losing team, but Karl Anthony Towns has, and I know he's sick and tired of it more than likely. So if you can get him out of Minnesota to Golden State with a Steph Curry, with a Klay Thompson, with a Draymond Green. Draymond is suffering without Steph and Klay. He's suffering.
He's suffering without the Splash Brothers. And I'm glad, a quick point, I'm glad they didn't bring Steph back on Sunday. Save him for next year. That's all I'm going to say.
That's what I say too.
Save the Splash Brothers for next year because the season's already lost. But
that's what I say too.
They're going to get a high draft pick. They're going to be one of the ones for the first time in a while. They're going to be in the draft lottery.
Yeah.
What if they mess around? What if they mess around and get the number one pick? You think they won't flip? You think they won't flip that into a trade? Come on, it's out there. If they get one of the top 3 picks, if they win the draft lottery and land the top pick and land the number one pick,
flip it.
I can pretty much guarantee you they will not keep it.
Nope, they'll flip it. And if you get a Karl Anthony Towns around that talent of Curry, Thompson, Draymond, if you keep Anthony Wiggins, which I doubt if you bring KAT over, doubt if you keep Wiggins, but that 4 right there, that 4. That can cause some problems.
And the Warriors have some more draft capital to use to get some better players. The one player I like right now is Jordan Poole, shooter out of Michigan. I like how he's coming along. I like how Eric Pascal's coming along, and Pascal's a defensive wizard.
Yep.
Put those two together with the players that you mentioned, and either Giannis or Karl Anthony Towns, it's Kevin Durant all over again.
Yep.
It's Kevin Durant all over again. And, there's people pushing back saying, Karl won't go to San Francisco for a chance to win a world championship. Yes, he will.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. He'll go.
And I'll give you a mitigating. I will give you a circumstance that, should this happen, I'll give you a circumstance in which the Greek Freak comes west. And I don't mean to the Lakers either. I'll give you a circumstance which brings Giannis to San Francisco. If the Bucks do not get out of the East, Giannis gets out of Milwaukee. Period.
I'm there with you. Because when you look at it, they are the best team. But if you look at a weakness, the weakness might end up being Milwaukee's coach.
Budenholzer.
He got out-coached. Yeah, he got out-coached against Toronto, last year in the playoffs.
And they had no business losing that series.
Mm-hmm. And everybody keeps talking about that lucky shot by Kawhi. No, he got outcoached by Toronto. Nick Nurse just outcoached us. So
Nick Nurse outcoached Steve Kerr. What does that say about a first-year coach? Nick Nurse outcoached Steve Kerr, and Steve Kerr and the Warriors have ruled the roost for the past 5 years.
Yep.
So,
that's why when you said on social media Toronto could defend that title, it's a possibility. You can't trust Boston. You don't know what Boston team you're gonna get. No, you can't trust Philly.
You know what? I hope Philly drops to. I mean this in no harm, but I hope Philly drops to the 8th spot and gets mopped up by Milwaukee. Why, you ask?
I don't understand.
Because I'm sick and tired of people saying Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are going to carry the Sixers to a title, and they haven't carried them past the second round in the years they've been together.
You talk about somebody going to San Francisco. You need to take Ben Simmons and put him in San Francisco.
Hell no.
Perfect.
Hell no.
You know what? But you know why I say it's perfect? But you know why I say it's perfect?
Why?
I say it's perfect because he'll have the one thing he doesn't have in Philly. He'll have verified, versatile shooters on that club. And when he has shooters on that club, if you want him to run the point, you can have him run the point. He bring the ball up the floor. You got Steph. You got Clay. Why not?
But you take the ball out of Steph's in creating the offense. You take the ball out of a very familiar pair of hands in Steph Curry. No, that combination will not work. That combination will not work. You take the ball out of very familiar hands. This is why I love talking to you. You take the ball out of very familiar hands, part one. Part two, you disrupt their defense. Okay? You want to piss.
That's true.
You want to piss Mike Brown off? You want to piss Mike Brown off? Don't play defense for Golden State.
But the one thing I do want to see, I want to see Ben Simmons get out of there. Him and Joel are not good together.
They haven't been compatible together
at all.
No.
They're not good together at all.
They're not. They're really not. And I'll say it again. Yeah, you can have the idea of sending Ben Simmons to the Chase Center in San Francisco, but you want to upset Mike Brown, who's the defensive coordinator for the Warriors? Don't play defense. Okay? Everybody that has come through the Warriors dynasty, and it's still a dynasty, folks. This is just an off year, so get the idea out of your head that they're not going to rise again. Which one final point, and I gotta bring this up. Cole Johnson brought this to my attention. Rob Parker, who's part of the show called The Odd Couple on FS1 and on iHeartRadio, said something that really ruffled my nerves.
What do you say now?
He said the Warriors dynasty is over. And he also said the Warriors only won because of Kevin Durant.
Let me try to be respectful because he's at a place where I want to be. But let me be respectful.
You already are. You're on the show with me, but I digress. His viewpoints are a little outdated because of the fact it wasn't because of just Kevin Durant that they won the championships that they won. It wasn't because of him. They won one before Kevin Durant. Thank you.
So you can't say that. And I hear him sometimes talk about that, talk about how Brady is over the hill and done. Viewpoints are kind of
as much as I don't like Tom Brady. As long as Tom Brady is breathing, there's some fight left in him.
Yes.
As long as Tom Brady, it's like Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, all the great. As long as Tom Brady breathes, there's an opportunity. And for him to say, for Rob Parker, who's a friend of mine, to say that it's because of Kevin Durant, Are you bleeping nuts?
It's just an outdated viewpoint. It
is.
Really is. That's something that he needs to lose and remove from his vernacular because it's not true.
It isn't true. And next year they're going to prove. And next year they're going to prove it. Just watch. They're going to prove it next year. And I'm putting. You want to add something to the rumor mill? I'm doing the full rumor mill tomorrow, folks. Yeah, I'm doing a full 20 minutes on the rumor mill in different sports tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
And I'll give you 3 right now that I'm going to touch on. The Warriors dynasty is finished. Karl Anthony Towns won't wind up in the Bay. Giannis Antetokounmpo won't wind up in the Bay. Here's a what if for you, and we'll close with this. What if the Warriors got both of them?
I don't know. I
know that's
know
not
how
possible.
You do that from a salary cap perspective.
I know that's not possible. I know that is not possible, especially with the capital.
If somebody took a hit, but if somebody took that hit, oh my goodness, you just forget it. The Clippers have nothing for that. The Lakers have nothing for that. You can just forget it. They wouldn't. If they lost a game, it'd be because they're bored. Oh my goodness!
Like the Bulls back in the '90s. I know they're not going to get both of them, but I believe one of them will wind up in San Francisco. I believe one of those two. And I'm thinking it's more Karl Anthony Towns than Giannis, but Giannis is in play. Giannis is in play. All right, let me get out of here. William Morgan joining me. He was on earlier to talk some XFL. He's now talking some NBA. He'll join me every week. We're going to get back on schedule. Man, such a pleasure to have you. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, my friend.
That'll do it from Charlotte, North Carolina. Thank you all for tuning in to this edition of the program. And I can't thank you all enough for those of you that listen via RTF Sports Network, via Full Press Coverage, Arena Sportsnet, KSRN Arizona, and other outlets. You can hear the podcast of this show 1 hour after this show is completed. And guess what? This show is completed. The podcast will be up in an hour. Until next time, have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, then they are not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. I am, and I hope y'all are too. Until next time, Snowman out.